Tell us about yourself and what motivated you to run for the Arizona State Legislature.
Well, I am a third generation Arizona native, and I have a little bit of background in politics, just real quick. My great aunt was the first woman to run for governor in Arizona in 1950. She did not win. She only lost by 3,000 votes, but she was the state auditor here for about 25 years. So I kind of tell people that it's in my blood. Maybe it skipped a generation or so, but it's in my blood. But originally, I retired and started researching precinct committee people and discovered that we did not have representation in my precinct over here. So I met with Elizabeth Brown, the chair of LD14, and chatted with her a little bit about it. She asked me if I'd ever considered running, and I told her I had not. But I have been active in politics, probably more behind the scenes than out in front of everybody. Never thought I would be running for office, but I do see a lot of things that are happening in the country, in the state, basically in the world that disturb me. And rather than be on the negative side of those things and being upset by them, I thought maybe I would channel them into something more positive and maybe bring a little bit of what I have to offer to the office.
Okay. What professional or personal experiences best prepare you to represent the business community in Gilbert and the East Valley?
I worked for Motorola for 24 years in various capacities. A couple of those, I was a business operations manager. I was an HR diversity manager. I also worked at General Dynamics and Honeywell. But even though, it's they're not small businesses, they're corporations, but I think that the bottom line is that we all have the same things in common, right? We strive to have positive outcomes, to have products that we can put out there and have people come to us and say, you know what, you're the one we want to be involved with. So with Town of Gilbert, with the chamber, you reach out to some of these places like Intels and Motorola's and some of them and try to bring their businesses to us. At Motorola, we tried to bring other businesses to us. And so I think just working in those different aspects, learning a little bit about each of the businesses and being able to deal with everyday sorts of issues, I hope that it's prepared me to be able to handle this.
Okay, thank you. Arizona has built a reputation as a pro-business state. What policies do you believe are most important to maintain Arizona's economic competitiveness and ensure that businesses continue to invest and create jobs in Gilbert and throughout the state?
I think that we need to have policies that we can attract and retain these businesses as well as the employees. By doing that, I believe that we have to have standardized regulations, policies that will benefit those businesses that come here to Arizona. I think that we need to streamline processes to make it easier for them to come to Arizona and to Gilbert. By the same token, I think that we need to also continue to hang on to our smaller businesses and our mid-sized businesses in Gilbert, and by doing that, we are creating a community that brings in wonderful larger corporations that have great pay scales and whatnot, but we're also helping out these smaller businesses. And I think that the growth is amazing. We bring more people in. It helps not only the businesses that are coming to us, it also will help those smaller businesses that are already here. And I think Arizona just, you know, for so many reasons, people like coming to Arizona. So I think just, the things that we do to attract and retain those people are the things that we would do for the state as well as the smaller communities.
All right, Dan?
Hi, Mary.
Hi, Dan.
What role should the legislature play in strengthening workforce pipelines through K-12 education, community colleges, universities, and career training programs?
I think that the states should provide funding for those programs. I will tell you, one of the jobs that I had when I first started with Motorola was as an electrician. I had gone through an apprenticeship. So I think it's very important that the state helps to fund those programs, the K through 12 programs, some apprenticeships, working with places like EVIT, with Chandler Community College, ASU Polytech, and just provide the means and the funds that we can educate starting at an earlier age, because it seems like kids come out intelligent like right after they're born. So we can educate them at an earlier age and get those people into the pipelines, so that we have great employees.
Thank you. What role should the state play in supporting infrastructure programs like transportation, water, and other key systems necessary for continued business growth?
I definitely think the legislature and the state need to provide, especially for infrastructure, our roads, maintaining, taking care of our roads. We need to have decent transportation so that people can get to and from their jobs. I think people like to live close to their jobs, but if they don't, they certainly need transportation that they don't have to spend all day sitting on a roadway. Water conservation, huge, especially in Arizona, and with some of the larger corporations that do use a little bit more water than average, we need to make sure that there is a dependable resource of water for those businesses. And again, for our small businesses, I think it's super, super important that we work trying to figure out ways that we can educate people on water conservation. We need to probably pair new technologies with some of these things so that we have efficient energy that goes along with the water conservation, and all of these things put together, I think will be supported by the state and hopefully take care of the businesses coming in.
Thank you. Building on that a bit more,
Yes.
is there a specific transportation or infrastructure project that you feel is important for our community?
Oh, right offhand, the 202 has been under construction for a heck of a long time here. And quite honestly, when I drive on it, I don't see what's being done. So I think it's important for the 202 to support, everything that's coming and going on a daily basis. I was told, I won't mention any names, but one of the town council members that said within 5 to 10 years, almost all of the roads in Gilbert are probably going to need to be replaced. I think that we need to concentrate on that because again, people want to be able to, ingress, egress easily, comfortably, without having to do a lot of detours. But we also don't want to shut off some of the businesses because we've got road work going on all the time. But I would say probably the 202 corridor and then Town of Gilbert roads.
Thank you. Next question has to do with housing.
Okay.
When it comes to housing availability and workforce housing, what policies, if any, should the state consider instating to improve housing supply while maintaining appropriate roles for local communities in planning and zoning decisions?
I think affordable housing is a crucial policy that we need to be looking at. I know the city of Tempe worked on some things and they did some affordable housing. We have a lot of apartments here in Gilbert. And, I kind of look at that and I see that people can afford to pay those payments for the apartments, but they can't afford down payments on homes. And so I think that we need to look at somehow or another creating an environment where either 20% of new builds or whatever consists of affordable housing so that some of these people that are working here can afford to also live here, so that our students that are going out to, again, EVIT, Chandler Gilbert Community College and that could possibly live a little bit closer, and be able to afford to live where they work. I know it's a hard thing to talk about, but maybe, we don't increase taxes, or maybe we do increase taxes on the apartment complexes so that we get a little bit of that money back into the town itself and we can do some affordable housing issues.
Thank you.
Well, how do you view the balance between state authority and local decision making when it comes to economic development, housing, and business regulation?
I think the state should have input. However, I think that it should be limited. I think that uh, local authority, local politics, local inputs are more important because you're getting the inputs of the people that live here. You're getting the inputs of the chamber. You're getting the inputs of our business community. And so I think for possibly funding purposes, tax purposes, things like that, the state should have a little bit of say in it. But I think when all is said and done, it should come back to the local areas.
Well, can you share a specific issue you hope to champion when it comes to the balance between local and state?
Oh, good question. Specific issue, huh? I that's a tough question for me, and I think what I'd like to say is when I see projects that start up that people aren't totally aware of um, until afterwards. I think that's an issue, and I would like to see a little more forthcoming and a little more forward information before projects start rather than after they start. And that would or could be on the state level as well as the local levels.
All right. Well, switching gears to water management, what role should the legislator play in supporting responsible water management while ensuring that communities like Gilbert can continue to attract businesses and residents?
I think that, again, water conservation is extremely important. I know of issues in the state where there are alfalfa fields that are being irrigated and they use up quite a large percentage of our water, just to send that product out of country. And I think that there needs to be some reining in on that. We need to use the our water, okay, to protect our state, to protect our developments, to protect our businesses and our towns and municipalities. And I also think people just need to be educated, It's as simple as don't stand and run the water while you're brushing your teeth. Wet your toothbrush, brush your teeth, or wet your toothbrush, turn off the water, brush your teeth, and then turn the water back on and rinse again. And I think it sometimes can be brought down to something so simple as educating people that don't realize Arizona is a desert. We don't have an never ending we don't have a never ending resource of water, and so we need to be more we just need to be we need to be respectful of our water resources, basically.
I think the word steward was going to be in
That might
there.
be a good word for it.
Well, and our last question. What is
Yes.
one policy issue affecting Arizona business community that you believe the legislator should prioritize over the next 2 years?
Over the next 2 years. Um,
One policy issue affecting Arizona business.
I think I think that we need to streamline the permit process for businesses. I think that the permitting process, the regulatory processes in starting new businesses, or revitalizing or whatever it takes. I think those processes are a little too long. And if we shorten those processes so that people don't have to go through all of the red tape in order to start their businesses up or, start making a profit or whatever it is, I think that would help tremendously.